Hello, everyone. Welcome to First and Short. I'm Aaron. I'm here with my co-host Mashfik, and we are gonna just do a not so instant reaction to the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl was played last night, and we are covering that the next day. In Old Miss, they get their sweet, sweet revenge in the Sugar Bowl over the Georgia Bulldogs. The final score was 39-34. Mash, what are your thoughts?
It seemed like look, Georgia's been barely getting by so many games this season. At some points it looked like, oh look, they're down and now they're up again. Here we go. Like it's gonna be another thing like that, another situation just like that. They fell a little short. I thought Kirby Smart got a little too aggressive at times. When it works, right? He did the when did it work? He did the fake punt, and then it was a pass to Lawson Lucky that worked. Okay, great. I thought that when they went for it on fourth down, deep in their own territory with 9 minutes or something left in the fourth quarter, I thought that was kind of dumb, and I think that they lost all momentum at that point. But yeah, what were your thoughts here?
Yeah. First off, very, very exciting game. The most exciting game of the quarterfinals, in my opinion, just because everything else felt so lopsided, or you know, but besides the first game, that was shocking. But this one
Yeah,
was just two great teams competing the whole time, and gotta tip my cap to Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, he had a heck
yeah,
of a
for
game.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So one stat that I had a feeling it was a long streak, but I got the number now. So Kirby Smart, he had won 53 straight games when he was leading at halftime. So that streak is officially dead. So they were down by, or the Rebels were down by 9, and they were able to obviously beat that deficit and won the game by 5. But I just wanted to make a point about Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, I know Heisman voting is done, and we got Fernando Mendoza, and he earned it. But Trinidad Chambliss, man, he had one of the most impressive like Heisman moment drives I've ever seen. Obviously, it's that fourth quarter drive where the game is on the line. Twice, Chambliss was dead to rights in the backfield, scrambled out of a sack that he's getting sacked on, but he didn't, and he found a receiver down the field to keep the scoring alive. Aaron, you mentioned in our preview the DeJon Stribling, the guy in the first game. He caught a 75-yard touchdown right as the second half started. He was on fire yesterday. He caught that game sealing, throw that was a 40-yard bomb. And I thought that that was my jaw was on the floor when I saw that.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Hey, they executed it at the perfect time, right? I think the play calls that Georgia made, they were in a sense aggressive, but I mean, you can't say their players weren't just totally out of position. We just saw some freakish like plays from Ole Miss on offense yesterday.
Yeah, talk me through some playmaking decisions that you kind of noticed. Like Georgia was when they did the field goal to tie the game, but they had like, I mean, I don't know, the refs kind of seemed like they were helping them out. But anyway, it's first and goal, I think.
Yep.
They
Like
have an
the
opportunity to
four.
take the lead with
Mhm.
what, maybe 2 minutes left or something like that.
Yep.
Well, what's talk me through that. Talk me through the thought process here. It seemed like he was being aggressive before. Why not be smarter here, more aggressive here? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the first thing I saw is I think those three plays were passes, or maybe one run,
Yeah.
two passes.
I I I will say I think, Nate Frazier was already hurt at this point, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and
So I
and
think that
so
definitely affected some stuff.
that's fair. That's fair. And to counter that point, I've seen them use the bigger back,
Josh
number
McCray.
2, Josh McCray, right? We've seen him, especially when they were playing against Tennessee, go more north and south. Um, I think he had 2 or 3 runs in this game, and when he got the east to west, that's when he kinda got, caught, tackled for a loss. I think being a back that big and not having the best speed, that would have been a perfect time to use him. Get north and south. You can use your power. Of course, I don't wanna criticize the head coach that much, because if we would have scored if they would have scored on a passing touchdown, I mean,
We wouldn't be
probably
having
would have
this
got,
discussion.
yeah, wouldn't be having this discussion, right? So, but if I were to do anything different, I probably would try to dominate in the trenches and see if I can score that way, right? Another thing I would do differently, I think on that third down play, Gunner Stocks and the pass just seemed a little bit too risky, with the chances
Mhm.
high with the field goal, like
Didn't it, like, yeah, I think it, like, even touched the Ole Miss player's hands, right? So it wasn't
exact
even, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I call something out to where he's doing a Gunner Stock and play action draw or something,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, like, if you're gonna run down the clock and try to run it in, I don't know.
mhm,
I was very surprised they weren't using the tight ends more. Seemed like the great best place to use it, 12 or 13 man personnel there, especially well, okay, so anyway, they did the field goal, they tie the game, there's, like, a minute left, but the Lucas Carniero, I wanna talk about this guy, the Ole Miss kicker. This guy
mhm,
was hitting missiles from 50, 60 yards, and then, of course, he gets the 47-yarder to win the game, but, like, that's what's on the other side. Um, Ole Miss only has to get, like, 30 yards in less than a minute. They've been doing it all day. Like, knowing that, I'm just confused about the decision making
yeah.
there.
I w I will say heck of a play calling on that final drive by Ole Miss. I think it got down to 3rd and 5 or something before they threw that 40-yard bomb to Stribling. Um, Honestly, I'm not mad at the call UGA made. They kinda sent an all-out blitz, and it was 0 coverage, so everybody's one-on-one. Um, you just hate to see, and hindsight's 2020, but you would think a defender's like, okay, I'm by myself here, no help behind me. Let me at least keep everything in front of me, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I got to go back and watch the play. Maybe it was he was in the slot position. Maybe he did a fade, but he ended up.
W
Luckily, the ball was such a lob that he was able to come back and tackle him. But he was open by like 5 yards for a second. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we'll dissect that play a little bit more on Sunday, but,
Mhm.
anyway, shout out to Ole Miss. I mean, obviously,
Yep.
you've had the coaching changes, there's so much uncertainty. You don't know who's staying, who's going to LSU, right? Personally, I think Trinidad Chambliss is gonna transfer to LSU if anything other than a national championship happens for Ole Miss, and even then, I feel like he might. But anyway, that's for another day. I thought the defense played great for
Yes.
Ole Miss. They really was able to shut down most things that Georgia was trying to do. They now move to the semifinals in the Fiesta Bowl to face Miami. For the first time in school history, the Rebels now have 13 wins on the season, and Georgia heads home with a 12-2 record. And a lot of questions about how they let a lead like that slip away.
Hmm.
Um, Kirby Smart, he said that they were both outplayed and outmatched. Do you think it was both, one or the other, versus or one or the other weighing out the other one? What do you think?
I think when you have a lead like that, like you said, going into halftime, and we see the aggressiveness on 4th down, work sometimes and not working in other times, and then the 2 minutes left in the game, you're passing the ball. I feel like it's more so you got out coached a little bit. Um, if it works, great. You're going to be called the best coach in the world. But in these cases, when you do those aggressive plays and they don't work, I mean, it's put on a pedestal. It's put on a highlight for display, right? So,
Yeah,
I think from a execution standpoint from the players, I mean, they played their hearts out. You saw Gunnar Stockton just taking the craziest hits and then bouncing
yeah.
right back up for the next play. Like, it's,
I would say on the defensive side, they were some of those players were outplayed. They weren't making the right tackles.
mm,
They didn't have the right angles. So in that department, I would say they were outplayed. I think even like on that final drive, KJ Bolden, he had the chance to stop. I think it was Kawan Lacey who got the first down, but he got
it,
hurt like on his shoulder.
um,
But if he had made the
um,
right tackle, then it would have been a 4th down, and we don't know what would have happened after that. But
that's true. If
stuff
you would
like
have
that
wrapped
kept
up,
happening. Yeah,
yeah.
stuff like that would have. That's why I would say outplayed, outcoached for sure. I think Mike
Mhm.
Bobo did was playing way too conservatively in the second half. They were playing to just keep the lead versus keeping the foot on the gas. So anyway, that's
Yeah, I believe there were 2 3 and outs in the 3rd quarter because of how conservative
just
they were.
yeah.
Yep. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, congrats to Ole Miss. They kind of switched roles in this rematch, right? Ole Miss was down. They came
Yeah.
back and just kept fighting and finally, took out Georgia in one of these close games. It's starting to become, Cinderella like for Ole Miss, right? Like they lose their head coach
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and
that it was last year's national champion, Ohio State, a little Cinderella for them, right? They're coming into the postseason with what, 2 or 3 losses, just lost against Michigan, and then they just turned it on and never looked back.
yeah,
Could be. I mean, at this point, could be. There's only one team that has won after getting a first round bye. You could argue any of these teams are Cinderella stories almost, right? So we'll see how it goes for Ole Miss, but definitely with all the coaching changes and stuff, I don't think that's hit anyone harder.
yeah.
Um,
Fun
yeah.
facts. Lane Kiffin is still getting paid for these wins.
Oh,
I,
is
I
he?
read
Okay.
I read somewhere that for each win and the further they get into the playoffs, he's getting paid still.
Oh
That was in the contract. So don't quote me on this, but I think I read somewhere that it was a quarter million per win. So
man, talk dividends. He's getting paid dividends for
yeah.
sure. Um, okay, so is this? I mean, would you say this is about looking at the Final Four? We have Oregon, we've got Indiana, we got Ole Miss, and we got Miami. 4 teams that haven't won anything in like 20 plus years. Is this the end? I mean, Ohio State's out, Georgia's out, Alabama's out. Is this the end of an era where teams can go on like dominant championship runs year over year? I mean, it seems pretty improbable now.
I think it is. And not to take any credit away from, the last coaching GOAT who's gonna go into the Hall of Fame. That's Nick Saban. But when he would finish, regular season runs and he would win a SEC championship, I mean, there were times where he had to play one game and just win that one game and he was a national champion, right?
Yeah,
Ole Miss is
that's
gonna have
true.
to win 4 games to become a national champion.
Yeah, 2 down, 2
Georgia
to
would have
go.
had to win 3, right? So
Yeah,
it takes being hot and staying hot with that momentum for these next 3 games.
yeah,
And then even in the 14 playoff, when Georgia went on the run of winning the back to back, right? They had to win just 2. That's no longer the case. So who knows if we would have had 12 playoff formats, you know, in the years prior that we would have had the same national champions. That's
right.
something we have to consider.
For sure, for sure. Well, we'll discuss that more on Sunday. For now, appreciate you guys watching this instant reaction of the Sugar Bowl. We'll catch you guys in a few days. Thanks.